in the Kinmen complex. Little Kinmen, Ta Tan, and Tan. On Kinmen's highest point, a radar site atop a fortress-like structure symbolizes the strategic importance of the four-island complex to the free world. For in addition to the aspects already mentioned, the Kinmen complex provides an observation post from which to keep the Chinese Communist coastal activities under close surveillance. It also adds to the depth of the overall defense of Taiwan. Kinmen proper is about 12 miles long and 5 miles wide at its broadest. Its cliff-like terrain, with a network of underground emplacements, its providentially broad beaches and the Taiwan Straits, is considered by many to be almost impregnable. A land of low rainfall, the island has gently rolling red and white clay farmland on its western coast. Its chief crops are peanuts, sweet potatoes, wheat, and millet. In recent years, its civilian population has become almost self-sustaining. Shanhui is Kinmen's second largest village. In recent years, the government has been in a position to eliminate the ancient specters of disease and unemployment and is establishing better health and sanitation practices. These bombed-out buildings currently used to train Chinese soldiers in village fighting were destroyed by artillery fire from the communist mainland in 1958, when 500,000 rounds blasted the island and an invasion attempt was repelled. Now, tunnels, caves, and revetments protect the population as well as visiting military. The shelling still continues, but only with rounds filled with propaganda materials and only on odd-numbered days. Most military establishments are located in tunnels or caves to reduce both casualties and damage to materiel, especially if the Chinese Communists should resume the use of high explosive rounds. Although in recent years shelling has been restricted to leaflet-carrying rounds, anyone within the immediate vicinity can be hit by shell fragments. As a result, visits, inspection trips, and resupply activities are scheduled for even-numbered days. The tunnel through which this Jeep is being driven also serves as the entrance to the underground office of the Kinmen Defense Command Advisory Team. Each officer advisor here has taken on 2 assignments because of the relatively small number of advisory personnel in relation to the large number of activities and installations. You are looking at the interior wall of another office, the cave-enclosed operations office of a Chinese division. The division advisor and his counterpart climb the stairs from the intersecting tunnels that lead to the office. Much of the advisor effort here is devoted to training and maintenance of map equipment. Although the troops on Kinmen are seasoned and are in a tactical situation, training and maintenance are vital in an area so close to an enemy threatening invasion. Behind these curtains are the underground living quarters of operations personnel. Many troops on Kinmen live in caves close to their duty stations. For many, reporting for duty each day is to walk through a maze of man-made tunnels to daylight. Here in the shadow of another tunnel, an aviation advisor and his counterpart, a general, discuss parachute inspection and maintenance. Most Army aircraft are protected by revetments. A sergeant advisor oversees maintenance of an L-19 with his counterpart, who was school-trained at Fort Rucker, Alabama. This is in line with the U.S. Army policy of bringing Allied nationals to the United States for training in operation and maintenance of U.S. equipment. Deep within another cave, a Chinese unit has set up a signal maintenance shop. There are virtually no activities of military importance on Kinmen that are not protected by solid rock. Another typical underground installation is the U.S. Army Communications Center. It enables members of the Kinmen Advisory Team to remain in constant communication with the Army section of MAG in Taipei. The activities of a Navy medic here illustrate the dedication of U.S. personnel. In keeping with the Navy's mission of administratively and logistically supporting U.S. troops on Taiwan, his original assignment was solely to administer to the medical needs of U.S. personnel. However, his energy and skills proved such that, at his request, the chief of the advisory team detailed him to serve as a medical advisor in addition to his regular duties. Resupplying the large number of military personnel on Kinmen presented a difficult problem until U.S. advisors helped to solve it. Faced with the necessity of moving supplies rapidly across soft, broad stretches of sand, they designed and helped set up a system that enabled an LST to beach, unload, and leave on one tide. This permits work crews to unload in a single, even-numbered day, thus avoiding a conflict with the communist shelling schedule. U.S. advisors and their counterparts make frequent inspection trips to the other three islands of the Kinmen complex, which, as we have noted, stand as close as 2,000 to 3,000 yards off the communist mainland. On Thompton, they visit a psychological operations post. They are greeted by two specialists of the Chinese Women's Army Corps. Powerful loudspeakers enable them to send frequent propaganda messages across the straits to the mainland. Psychological operations also involve release of balloons carrying scarce items such as soap and toothpaste to the mainland. On Little Kinmen, an advisor inspects a rifle range on which infantrymen fire across an intersecting peanut field to hit their targets. On Ertan, an advisor inspects several outposts from which observers keep the communist coastline under constant surveillance. Maps and mock-ups of the Red Coast and of Amoy Harbor help to locate gun positions and other strategic installations. They can see that all is quiet and the situation normal along the communist coastline. Controlling the exit from Amoy Harbor, Kinmen is in effect the cork in the communist invasion bottle, performing much the same role for Asia as does Berlin in Europe. Taiwan and its complex are the furthest outpost of the free world's Pacific defense. In April 1961, Lyndon B. Johnson, then Vice President of the United States, after a fact-finding tour of Southeast Asia, reported to President J.F. Kennedy, "The battle against communism must be joined in Southeast Asia with strength and determination to achieve success there, or the United States inevitably must surrender the Pacific and take up our defenses on our own shores. Asian communism is comprised and contained by the maintenance of free nations on the subcontinent. Without this inhibitory influence, the island outposts, Philippines, Japan, Taiwan, have no security and the vast Pacific becomes a Red Sea.